When last we met, Roxanne had reunited with Blaze and asked him to come with her to Holly to help save her town from the evil Sin Eater. Surprisingly, though, we found out that the Sin Eater was working for Centris, and in the end, Centris had stolen the soul of Johnny Blaze. Let's find out how they get out of this insane situation.
Look into my eyes. Your soul is stained by the blood of the innocent. Feel their pain.
Centris holds up the soul crystal with Johnny's soul trapped inside. He laughs and celebrates that he has accomplished his goal. Roxanne, holding on to Johnny's soulless husk, yells at Centris, calling him an animal, asking why punish Johnny when Zarathos is the one he wants to destroy. Centris says he doesn't need to explain himself to her. He says he has his reasons, same as having his reasons for coming to this town of Holly, using Sin Eater as his pawn to devour the souls of the townspeople. He says he doesn't need to explain those reasons to her. He marches off, having Sin Eater follow, along with many minions. He's accomplished what he set out to do here, and he'll move on to other matters. As he leaves, Roxanne tries to get Johnny back on his feet. See, he may not have a soul, but he still moves. He's just pretty much a mindless husk. Kind of like an empty shell that can still move and walk. It's very hard to maneuver though. She struggles to get him onto the bike, and she rides out back to her aunt and uncle's house. She gets him onto the couch and she goes upstairs, reflecting back on what has happened so far. She wonders, maybe there's some hope since she's been left alive and whole. But then she thinks maybe Centris kept her alive because she's useless, and doesn't think that there was any threat to leaving her alive. Elsewhere, we find ourselves within the mind of the soulless Johnny Blaze. We find Zarathos wondering what has transpired while he's been trapped inside Johnny's mind. He feels different. There are no restraints. He has his body to himself. He wonders, how can this be? Unless Centris had managed to steal Johnny's soul. He feels the idiot Centris doesn't realize what he's done, and reflects back. He was always a fool, since long ago, the day when Mephisto first used him to end Zarathos' reign of terror on Earth. Centris sacrificed his soul and became the tool which the jealous Hell Lord captured, the living flame that is his essence, thus condemning him to an eternal servitude. But even as a slave, he grew too powerful to contain, and Mephisto had stripped him of his memories and trapped him inside the body of Johnny Blaze. Blaze had broken a pact with Mephisto. Their bonding is the devil's way of punishing them both. All these memories have been denied him up until recently, when Zarathos first encountered Centris in the Louisiana swamps. They didn't know each other at the time, but they know each other now, and Blaze, at long last, is gone. It's at this moment we come to see Blaze on the couch in a familiar transformation taking place.
Vengeance that has been denied me for centuries shall be mine!
Roxanne freaks out. Anything but this.
Were my heart not dancing with delight, woman, I would strike you down where you stand. But Zarathos can afford to be merciful when the freedom he fought so long and hard for at long last is his. There is only Zarathos. The Ghost Rider is free.
He creates his hell cycle and takes off.
Centris must pay.
He rides off. Roxanne gets on Blaze's motorcycle and begins to chase him. She's not sure why she's following, or what to do if she catches him. She only knows she must try. Elsewhere, we find Sin Eater and Centris discussing his further plans. He's having Sin Eater spread his ministry beyond the town to create more and more soulless slaves for Centris to control. He asks Sin Eater if something is wrong. Sin Eater says that the soul crystal is throbbing and pulsing. Centris brushes this off as saying that it's just digesting its latest soul. Johnny Blaze is seen plunging through the soul crystal, surrounded by many souls. A hand emerges touching Blaze. It's Roxanne's cousin, at least a fleeting remnant of him, but soon it begins to fade away. Meanwhile, we see Ghost Rider riding up on Sin Eater and Centris. Centris says he's been expecting him. Ghost Rider shouts the soulless man's name as he shoots him with the blaster.
You made a fatal error, fool. You have entrapped the man and set the monster free.
Centris uses his elemental magic to hurl a semi-truck at Zarathos. He dodges and shoots the truck with hellfire. It explodes. Centris barely dodges as the Ghost Rider slams into him, grabs a hold of him, and drags him up the church building. He starts monologuing and bragging. He thinks he has won. Suddenly, Ghost Rider feels strange. Something's wrong. He feels weak. And suddenly, this match turns on its head. Centris isn't hurt in the slightest, and for some reason, Ghost Rider's strength seems to be slipping away. Centris was toying with Ghost Rider this whole time, wanting him to believe he is weak and being easily defeated. He wanted Zarathos' arrogance to reach its height, so when he fell, it would be that much more beautiful. Centris raises his hand. Suddenly, Zarathos falls to the ceiling of the church, and out of nowhere, many rats start attacking him. They are controlled by Centris. He claims to soon be able to control Zarathos himself. Ghost Rider mocks this in disbelief, but as he rides towards Centris, Centris just raises his hand, telling him to shut up, saying he's sick of his prattling. As he does this, the Ghost Rider's bike dissipates with the very wind. Ghost Rider is in disbelief, saying as much. Centris punches him a few more times for good measure. He tells him he thought he ordered him to shut up. He knocks him to the ground, and then he just jaunts out the front door to celebrate. Ghost Rider crawls out after him, saying he wasn't done yet.
I didn't hear no bell.
Centris disagrees, saying Ghost Rider is just too stupid to recognize the fact. He once again knocks him to the ground. Do you see now, demon? Does your pitifully limited mind comprehend the truth? You are free of Blaze, but without his soul to tether you to this place of existence, to give you balance. In time, you'll become much more of a phantom than the wraiths within my crystal.
You lie!
Shouts Zarathos. Centris points out the rider can feel their own strength waning. To the man with no soul couldn't possibly be lying. This is Centris' revenge. Zarathos keeps repeating that this is the trick. At this point, Centris really doesn't care anymore, and tells him to think what he will as he punches him back to the church and uses his power over the elements to bring the church down around top of him. Roxanne can only look on in shock. Centris walks over to Roxanne and addresses her. Miss Simpson, thousands of years before your birth, I knew a love, not unlike that of which you and Blaze shared. To spare my beloved Zarathos' touch, I sacrificed my very soul and lost the ability to feel love. But Centris still remembers. In reverence for those memories, I shall let you live. I go now, with my crystal and flock, offering salvation to the ignorant, the desperate, and granting them instead oblivion. At this word, specifically, the Sin Eater takes notice. Centris then shouts that with Zarathos finally gone, he doesn't even have vengeance to look forward to. His life truly has no meaning, so now he only knows his own corruption. He tells Sin Eater to follow as his crusade awaits. As they leave, Roxanne falls to her knees in despair. She has truly lost everything. Her home, her family, and the man she now realizes she had never stopped loving. Everything. Wait, what's this? Zarathos yet still lives. Well, sort of.
Little the worse for wear, I'm afraid.
He stumbles and falls and struggles back to his knees. He tries to summon his hell cycle. Roxanne, excited he's alive, tries to talk to him. He ignores her. Zarathos is just frustrated at his lack of power. Roxanne tries to get his attention, telling him he's dying. Zarathos refused to believe this. She tells him there is only one way he will live. Zarathos knows where this is going, and he refuses to listen. She says it anyway. The demon needs Johnny. He screams no as he falls to the floor.
I never needed Blaze. I never needed him. I need him.
She carries him to the motorcycle. The demon thinks of Centris and vengeance, as Roxanne thinks of Johnny as they ride off to confront the man with no soul one final time. We find ourselves at the mouth of a cave, with many people and vehicles surrounding the entrance. Centris sits upon his throne talking to Sin Eater. He states his battle with Ghost Rider had drained him, but now he has drawn strength from the Crystal of Souls. He is ready to move forward. He tells the Sin Eater to ready his flock of followers. He stutters, saying no. Centris is shocked. What? The Sin Eater states that when Centris came to his town, he gave himself to the soulless man because he thought he would help save the souls of the people. Did I not fill your church to the overflowing? Did I not give you your congregation free of sin? That was before the Sin Eater finally realized the truth. Hating the idea of being questioned, Centris tosses the old man aside like a little bitch. As he observes the soul crystal in his hands, he states he can just find another to take the Sin Eater's place. As he says this, we see Johnny Blaze's essence drifting within the crystal as he slowly dissipates. Centris leaves the cave and is about to gather the sheep when suddenly he sees in the distance Zarathos arrive, barely clinging to the life. With Roxanne, Centris just finds this amusing and decides to have some fun. He has his soulless sheep attack them. Zarathos barely stumbles his way from the crowd to the feet of his hated enemy. The demon struggles to his feet and lunges towards Centris, only to be swatted away. The man with no soul is amused. He finds this moment to be sweeter than he could have imagined, as his greatest foe, worthy of immense hatred, is now reduced to nothing. He once hungered for this demon's death, and now the demon is nothing more than a simpering wretch. He tells him to be gone and to crawl into the woods to die cowering. We see Zarathos only get up once more. Anger swells inside the demon.
Die! No!
He conjures some hellfire from within and smashes the soul crystal in half. The shocked Centris is sucked within the crystal as many spirits shoot out, one in particular being Johnny Blaze's, others being the people in town, and those long gone. Their souls drift off, but Zarathos is upset. This isn't what he wanted. He wants vengeance. He needs his revenge. How dare Centris escape his grasp, the coward hiding inside his crystal. He bangs against the crystal, desperate to get what he wants, yelling that he is too weak to smash the crystal once more. But there has to be a way to reach him. Perhaps there is. It's Sin Eater. Zarathos, confused, looks at the man crawling from the cave, still injured from Centris swatting him away. Sin Eater claims he might be able to help. Meanwhile, Blaze finds himself deep within the consciousness of Ghost Rider. An all too familiar predicament for him to be in. Sin Eater says he can help Zarathos into the crystal to get the vengeance for all of them. Zarathos is just like,
Do it, fool!
At the same moment, Blaze conjures the will to start to transform. Zarathos panics.
No! Not now!
They both fight for control. Roxanne, confused at first, starts panicking. Blaze states both he and Zarathos now have been pushing each other and getting stronger. Zarathos can't be bothered with this. He needs his vengeance. Blaze feels Zarathos weakening. Blaze is winning the struggle. Roxanne must stop Blaze. She shouts for him to listen. She tells Blaze to stop fighting him. Blaze is like, "Are you crazy? I'm winning. I can't." Roxanne tells him she loves him. And if he loves her, he needs to trust her and ask Johnny to let Zarathos win. Blaze responds that he loves her, and he will let go one last time. Zarathos shouts with joy. He has done it.
You are mine!
He shouts as all of his essence shoots within the crystal. Blaze falls to the ground. The Sin Eater passes away, overcome by his awesome power. Roxanne goes to Johnny and asks him if he understands what just happened. She tells him the Ghost Rider is gone. Gone? It takes a second for Johnny to truly process what this means. He never thought such a thing was really possible. The nightmare is truly over? He can't believe this. It's over? He can't thank Roxanne enough. She tells him to thank himself, as not many people could have the courage to do what he did. Not many people have loved someone the way I love you, he responds. She smiles. Well, when you put it that way... What now? Johnny asks. Do we get married? Go back to the carnival? Stow it over in Holly? They could do anything. Johnny has never felt as free as he does now. Their choices are infinite. Roxanne responds, and they have all the time in the world. They walk towards the future hand in hand. As they do, in the background, small tremors, the ground shakes, and the soul crystal falls within a crevice. All without Johnny and Roxanne noticing. They ride off into the sunset as the Lord of Lies, Mephisto himself, holds the crystal in his hands, watching in amusement, as trapped within are Zarathos and Centris, battling for the rest of eternity.
This, along with the last issue, are honestly some of my favorite issues of Ghost Rider ever. Not many Marvel comic books actually have an ending and allow their characters to have a happy ending. And for about 8 years, Johnny Blaze gets himself a happy ending. And it's all tied up rather neatly. Though we do get to see Johnny Blaze, Roxanne, and Zarathos one more time before the 90s series. Johnny Blaze and Roxanne show up in the New Defenders from 1972's series, issue 145 through 146. Johnny comes to ask Warren, aka Angel, for a loan, which he uses to buy the Quentin Carnival. But this is after Warren offers him a job as a repairman for the Defenders. Johnny declines. Warren agrees to help Johnny. Johnny and Roxanne then depart for their happy ending. Elsewhere, during the Marvel event Secret Wars 2, in Amazing Spider-Man 274, the Beyonder comes to Earth and many events of craziness transpire. But the one relevant one here is when the Beyonder decides to destroy Mephisto's realm. Mephisto comes up with a wager. The Beyonder is to choose a representative for both himself and Mephisto. The Beyonder chooses Spider-Man to represent Mephisto, and for himself, he releases Zarathos. He tasks Zarathos with a mission of corrupting and preventing Spider-Man from holding to his morals and ideals, and he has 24 hours to do it. Spider-Man, being completely unaware of any of this, he's out patrolling when he gets word that the Kingpin is to be assassinated. Now, most people would probably celebrate and shout for joy, but unfortunately for Spider-Man, it's not that easy. For, as we know...
Remember, with great power comes great responsibility.
Thanks, Uncle Ben. Now the task is at hand. Zarathos must prevent Spider-Man from stopping the assassination. The catch is, he must somehow convince Spider-Man to make the decision himself to not save the Kingpin. Zarathos goes about showing Spidey visions and messes with his head, even giving him nightmares when he decides to take a nap. The visions get worse and worse, even attempting to manipulate and guilt trip him. Heck, he even gives Peter boils. But much to both Mephisto and Beyonder's surprise, Spider-Man is someone of incredibly strong convictions and not one to give up. He is pushed to his limits, running out of time. Zarathos not relenting. Spider-Man has had enough, and he punches a manifestation of Zarathos. Spidey stumbles. A sniper takes aim at Fisk. Time has run out. It's now or never. Spider-Man musters up the last bit of strength he has. He swings into action, stopping the sniper. The deed is done. Mephisto is both surprised and relieved. The Beyonder admits defeat and puts everything right, returning Zarathos back to the Soul Crystal. He leaves, reminding Mephisto that he just bought himself and the rest of the world 24 hours. You can find out how that story ends, by reading Secret Wars 2. Alright now, for the review. As always, the writing and art here are stellar. Bob Budiansky firing on all cylinders once again. Some of my favorite panels are the opening shot of Sentris holding the Soul Crystal. The first battle in this issue, where Sentris makes Zarathos his bitch, is also stellar. I also really love the scene where Zarathos comes to terms with the fact that he does in fact need Blaze. And the fact that he allows Roxanne to take him on the motorcycle, like he's clinging to her and everything, something he would never do in a million years if he had his full strength. Also, the final page is beautiful. Okay, I'm not going to rant here about this too much, but I do have a video planned where I go more in depth about my feelings on this. Roxanne. I have so much I want to say about her and how shitty her character is treated after this series. She is such an excellent character. In just these two issues, the last one and this one really show it. I honestly feel these issues should be considered mandatory reading for any writer of Ghost Rider. If not for Roxanne, Blaze and Zarathos would both have failed. But not only that, she shows so much courage and strength through these two issues, and I feel a lot of that is lost after this series with her. I found that very upsetting. Anyways, we'll talk more about that later. This issue was written spectacularly by J.M. DeMatteis. I don't know how to pronounce his name very well. He really kicks ass. With this issue finished, we'll finally be getting back to Dan Ketch and his story. I wish you all well, and I hope you have a wonderful day.